Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, but only because of the potential impact that it could have for things like XRP. And I guess with that, the whole big headline of this is that if the BlackRock ETF is able to bring in enough large money out there that has been pretty suspicious of crypto because it doesn't really have any regulatory clarity yet other than XRP, of course, it could potentially drive it up to about 180K. Now, we are planning on talking about not only what that can do for the crypto industry as a whole, but what about XRP? Because that actually has judicial clarity in that XRP has been found to not be a security, just like all of us knew. But unfortunately, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they have been called commodities in some court opinions recently, but there's not really any substance there other than they're the largest and they're quote unquote decentralized enough. So on that note, what's Bitcoin doing now? We're just under 26K. It's been holding that point. There's not really any interesting action to talk about there. We've got XRP at about 50 cents again. It's just over that 50-cent mark. Hasn't really been moving around a whole lot. So there's not really too much interesting there. But I really want to focus on this whole concept of what if this ETF is actually able to draw in the large money out there that has yet to really come into the crypto industry and large. So I found this other article here, which is saying that the spot Bitcoin ETF approval could send XRP price to $5.10 and up. And what is backing that is that they are projecting that the ETF could potentially unleash a monumental 30 trillion from financial advisors into the crypto market. And that's because, especially in this economy right now, as the USD is becoming less popular, people are trying to find different places to put their money that can get higher returns. And I think we'll continue to see that trend, especially with everything happening in the world right now with the petrodollar becoming less and less popular. But I mean, 30 trillion in just Bitcoin alone. Now, what would that have on the total market cap when you have a lot more confidence in the crypto industry, where everyone else sees that the large players and large investors out there are confident in this? So that will bring in more money aside from that as well. So that is just kind of an estimated initial amount, right? And I wanted to show you this because right now we are back down to just over 1 trillion of a total market cap in all of crypto. In 2021, we peaked at about 2.8. So that's over a 10x from our highest market cap in existence, and that's just about a 29x from where it is right now. So the market cap is much more interesting when we're talking about non-Bitcoin and non-Ethereum assets, because these quote-unquote altcoins typically tend to rise much more exponentially than proportionately to the market cap. Now, it's not all of them, but it is the higher potential ones that actually have use cases. Now, of course, you'll have your Pepe coins and all that crap pump, right? But we're more intelligent than that. I'm in XRP, XLM, HBAR, XDC, Quant, Casper. In fact, I even have a little algo as well. I think that that is at a very attractive price point right now. But let's get back to this ETF. BlackRock has applied for 576 ETFs. They have only gotten rejected on one, and I read into that more, and it was really on a technical detail that wasn't really a problem with the proposal itself. So 1 out of 577 or 576 means a 99.8 success rate on their ETF applications. The Bitcoin ETF approval is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So we have the final approval deadline by the SEC in March of 2024, but that's not necessarily when it'll happen, right? It was a lot like the SEC Ripple case where people were referring to their expectations and when it would be done off of typical times and when the maximum response times were and everything like that. But that's just a worst case, right? So yes, the Bitcoin halving is happening in 2024, which traditionally everyone thinks that that's the beginning of the next bull run. Bitcoin has its day. Once the money begins to come out of Bitcoin, it'll go into Ethereum, and then it'll go into everything else. And that has been proven out quite a number of times now. But what's really extra interesting here is that word on the street is that the spot Bitcoin ETF is already approved. This is probably just like what the SEC Ripple case was, where you began to hear these rumors for a while that sounded like everything was probably much closer to done than the media was actually wanting to say. And then all of a sudden it just dropped one day, and XRP, XLM, and XDC both had at least about a 90% spike. So if the rumors are true and the spot Bitcoin ETF is already approved, we could pretty much immediately hit 40K according to him. And look, I don't know about any kind of immediate action, but there will be an immediate pump. How high? I don't really think anyone knows. I think it would surpass the like 30,000 mark, just because that's a pretty big resistance point. And there would be a lot of confidence coming in early in order to try to get in before it got too much higher. And this right here is an illustration of what that could look like, which is pretty much the same thing XRP, XLM, and XDC had when the SEC Ripple lawsuit was found to have XRP not be a security. And I want to bring up the lawsuit thing just because that action can happen immediately, right? And that is what will happen here. Now, likely we'll see Bitcoin accumulate a lot more volume because the major players all know each other and they tend to know things before all of us do. So I would think that we would see the same kind of volume trends that XRP had as we approached that time that the announcement was made. But just as a visual here, we're at just about 25 or 26K on Bitcoin right now. This is 180K, or it's just about. So this is where we could go, which is roughly talking about a $30 trillion expected market cap eventually as a result of this ETF, right? So if we can apply the same kind of change, this is just about a 600% change. If you look at the previous price action of the last beginning of the big bull run up to its peak, then that was about, let's catch some wicks here. about 1,000%, right? Which is about a 9x. If you look at XRP and you look at its low down here up to its peak, that was about 850%, or just about a 7.5x. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that once all of the money pours out of Bitcoin into the other things, because people are trying to continue their compounding returns, that's when your altcoins run. And if we look at the XRP market cap back in, let's see, 2021, we hit a high back then of 89 billion, and way back when we hit that $3.84, we were at 131. In fact, I think I brought that up in the video yesterday. But back in this original article that I pulled up that said XRP price to 510 and even higher, I just put together some quick math off of those percentages in between the returns in the bull run for Bitcoin and then XRP as well, and I came out to an XRP price of about $4.06 each. So that wasn't even really taking into account the $30 trillion market cap. So really, that market cap run impacts alts much more exponentially than it does Bitcoin and even Ethereum as well. So once all of the money begins to pull out of Bitcoin, begins to pull out of Ether, it'll go into the altcoins. And the most major altcoin that has regulatory clarity right now is none other than XRP. It is the only one that has straight court rulings that say that it is not a security. So there are many others that will have huge increases in value off of such a large move as a result of an ETF being passed and a potential 180K price for Bitcoin. But where do you think the money will actually end up? Especially with XRP and Ripple having so much success around the world right now with all of their partnerships and participation in different committees and associations with the IMF, with SBI in Japan, with the Bank of International Settlements. I mean, all of the ones that I always say, XRP, XLM, XDC, Quant, HBAR, Casper, and even Algo as well. I mean, yeah, that is involved in the Coinbase lawsuit right now, and that's really what in part has made that price go down so low to about 9 cents. But the 2021 and the 2022 bull runs will be tiny compared to what could come as a result of not only a Bitcoin ETF, but also the Bitcoin halving in 2024. So how high it could go, I mean, who knows? 2023 has not been an exciting year for us. I have been learning more. I have been accumulating more. I have been just absorbing as much information as I can to set myself up for when this does run once again. And this next run, especially if this ETF actually passes and they have gotten 575 approved out of 576, the courts have found that the SEC was wrong to turn them down. They are dragging their feet on it, but there are again some rumors, and I don't know who knows what, but these rumors, I I tend to think that anything that is counter to the mainstream media talking points is probably much more believable than what's actually on the mainstream. So let's just end it off 180K Bitcoin if this ETF goes through. Well, not if, when it does. And we're talking about XRP price of $5 to $10, and that's not even really accounting for the true value of XRP being able to be connected to all of the financial institutions it is. So this isn't even taking into account the utility bull run that I truly think will happen after an ETF bull run happens, after a Bitcoin halving bull run happens. Then I think once there's so much institutional money involved, and once they're in, we're going to see a drive for much more regulatory clarity as well. Then, in my opinion, we're going to see the utility projects really begin to take off. And in my opinion, one of the easiest ways for utility to get a quick hold in the crypto industry is with the financial applications. Again, XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Quant. I'm I would like to be exposed to other things as well, but I'm really concentrating on those. And I am not a financial advisor. I hope that everyone clearly understands that now. But I'm I am not advising you. I am just helping to advise myself at this point in time. But I thought that was some really interesting news today, and especially how it compares to the potential of our favorite XRP.